Gets all chopped up and cut up and whatnot. Oh, God, is that annoying? Oh, wait, so I'm further away if we want a bigger frame like that. Yes, that sounds so much better. Okay, well, ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Oh my God. Oh my God. First of all, hello and welcome back to the Just Show Up show. Today we are doing something crazy. So, first things first, today is my birthday, and as it's been coming up, I was thinking about what I want to do, and I was like, oh my God, I have so many things to deal with. I don't even want to think about it, right? And you know, part of me is kind of sad. We just moved house to a new place, a new city. We don't know anyone, so it's just me and Yas, and what can we do? Like, yes, we could go out and celebrate and do something and whatnot, but it's like, I don't have my friends here. So I was thinking about what I want to do, and it was interesting because like part of me, I had this reaction where I felt like I don't even care that much this year anymore, and not in a kind of like bad way, but in a way of just feeling kind of, you know what, I feel content. You know, I feel content that we're alive and that we're healthy and that like we have somewhere nice to live and we have food to eat. Like, that's kind of, I don't know, like the other day I was joking, I said like, you know, like let's just survive for now and then thrive later, which is interesting because I feel like in many ways, whatever I preach with the magic fountain, sometimes like I myself have resistance to it. And one of the big ones is, you know, this idea of thriving, right? And like going for the things that you want, and not, it's such a tricky thing to do, actually. It's such a tricky thing to execute because on the one hand, yes, you want to trust the universe and you want to be following the cues that you're receiving. And for me, the cue that I received was about 8 months ago, I had this amazing idea for a book. Like, it landed in my head. And the story goes that I broke up with my boyfriend not because I wanted to. I actually broke up with him because I didn't want to. I really wanted to be together, but he was moving to the UK and I was still in Dubai, and like COVID and everything was just too much for my fragile little HSP system. Like, I could not handle it. I was just constantly crying. I couldn't function at work. And I don't know if it was so much the breakup, but for sure, like, this was one of the hardest things for me to process of all the relationships I've ever been in. Like, I was the most kind of resistant to let go with this one in particular. And it could have also been the other things, you know, like kind of knowing that he's leaving and my life in Dubai was not going to be the same anymore. And just, you know, with him leaving also, because I was spending most of my time with him when I was not at work. Being a flight attendant, I was only in Dubai like half of the time. So it was a very intense period, and I couldn't handle it. So I broke up with him, and then I was just devastated. I was like, oh, like everything is falling apart, and like really one of the worst periods of my life last year. I mean, obviously for most of us, I think, like, I don't know how many people there are that have been thriving through this pandemic. I'm sure there is a small minority, but I think most of us have been hit hard in more than one ways, you know, like financially, relationships, isolation, just so many things that are really hard to live with and deal with. And point being, I was just in a horrific state. And as it goes, for some reason, whenever I am in a really, really bad state and like crying and just confused and not knowing what to do with my life, I just like, it's immediately followed by something great. And that night, I remember it very clearly, I was just panicked, I was crying, I literally cried myself to sleep. And the next morning, I did my morning pages as I do every day, which is like my tool for keeping me sane. And I wrote them, and I just got this like one funny little thought. And I had this like, it was almost like a joke, you know, like the idea came to me as a joke to kind of cheer me up. It was like, oh God, you're like so silly, you know, like crying like this. And I had this interesting realization about attachment in a relationship, like attachment to love. And the realization was that it's like, you know, on the one hand, I'm saying that I'm in love, right? But like, if you're in love, it feels to me like true love does not have attachment. But when you're in this kind of like human level of love, you have attachment and you suffer greatly. But it's also kind of like a strange push and pull, because, you know, you love another person, right? But you also love yourself. So it's like, you need to be aware of who you are and what are the kind of conditions that are supportive of you and who you are, right? Like, I know for sure that love is very, very important to me, but at the same time, loving myself and loving my own life and the things that I want to do and where I want to live and how I want my life to go is also extremely important to me, because I know that, you know, like me loving someone else is not going to work in a way if all of my other conditions are miserable. So I made the difficult decision to break up, and the next morning I was blessed with this idea. And as I continued writing, I just continued and continued writing, and a story started to form in my head. And I think like I wrote down like maybe like a 7-sentence summary of the story, and then I slowly started telling it to my brother, and then I started telling it to friends, like, oh, I have this idea for a story. And it just continued growing and growing and growing, and it just made me feel like, I don't know, it's like I've never loved anything this much in my life before. Like, I've never loved an idea. And also, I've had other ideas in the past and I would go and tell them to people and whatnot, but like nobody's ever kind of reacted very well to my ideas. And I think this idea for the story, it is so lovable to me and to everyone that I tell it to, because it comes directly from source. Like, it wasn't something that I fabricated, you know, with my rational mind, or, you know, it was just like a straight, direct download. And the tragic part about this is that I received the idea 10 months ago, right? And then I was just kind of like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to do with this, right? It's like, okay, great, like I received an idea. Like, I mean, not many of us ever think we're gonna receive an idea for a book, right? It's especially if you never wrote anything before. Like, I've been always writing and creating things, but I've never made a book before. And so I continued holding it and carrying it around with me until I started feeling like, just like an anxiety, like, is like, if I'm not working on the book, it just feels like, oh, like, you know, like I'm not giving it everything. It just feels almost like holy to me, like I need to devote my life to it or something like that. And I've tried all of my best. Like, I came up with this brilliant idea, you know, like I'm gonna kind of consolidate all of my talents. I stopped flying, and now I'm going to just offer coaching. You know, I'll go and get training, and I'll do coaching for people, because that's an innate talent of mine, and it works. And I thought like, okay, I'm just gonna live off of my savings for 6 months and like put everything into it. And I spent about a month and a half of these 6 months writing the book, you know, creating the visuals and creating kind of like the story, the outline, and the individual pages, like what happens on each page. I've got the storyboard down, and I've got the text written. And now it's time to create the illustrations, which is the most time-consuming part, and I suspect also the hardest part. And this is where the difficulty comes in, and this is why we're doing this on my birthday, because I feel that, sorry, I just pushed you. Okay, there we go, we're back together. I just feel that I wanna, see, that's the thing. It's always been like, I never ever considered asking for money for things that I want to do. And I always wanted to take responsibility for my life and responsibility for the choices that I make. And now that it's my birthday, I'm kind of, as every year, in this very reflective state of mind, and it's just like, it feels like life is staring me in the face and just saying like, I mean, I don't even know what it's saying, but it's just, it feels very pressured. It's like I've put all of my savings, all of my resources into this one thing, you know, like trying to make it work. And it feels, I mean, as if reality is just telling me like 6 months is not long enough. It is working, I have some clients, but it's just not enough to kind of sustain. So that means I'm at a crossroads right now. I am really at a crossroads right now where either I have to go and get a job, or I have to get a job and plus be doing this. But at the same time, I just feel like, you know, in my spiritual development, it's like I get guidance, and it feels as if the guidance is telling me to just ask people to support this project, you know. And I do feel like I do have enough connections where people could get together and just be like, hey, we love this book, we want to see this happen, like, I'll support you, you know, spend the next 6 months of your life just full-time creating the illustrations, like, just do it. So, but the thing is, as you can see, like, I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm uncomfortable with asking. I'm uncomfortable with just feeling like I didn't do everything that I could in my power, but it really feels that I'm too hard on myself, you know, because I compare myself in this situation. I compare myself to a normal functioning human, and I forget to consider my, you know, being an HSP. It's like everything is just so much freaking harder for me. Like, emotionally, so much stuff happens to me on a daily basis, and things that are like a little bit frustrating to other people at work that they could just bear through are just so draining, energetically draining. So if I could, I would just greatly prefer to continue doing what I'm doing, and, you know, be of service in my own way, in a way that nurtures and energizes me, and that is just so much more meaningful to other people, like the work that I'm doing with coaching and the drawing for healing events. It's just, I'm being put to best use. And that's the thing where I feel like, you know, if I don't go out and tell people that I need support, which is so hard to say, right? But we are, like, that's the nature of reality. We're all like counter dependent, is that even a word? But we're all interconnected, right? And when we do have an idea and a dream and something that, you know, we really want to see in the world, like, why not lean on others and include them in the process of creating this? So this is not going to be it, but I am going to create a video where I describe the story. Shall we do that now? Shall we do that now as part of this video? Oh my god, this is so uncomfortable. Wow, this is so uncomfortable. Like, I'm sweating, I'm breaking out in sweat. Because this is something that I feel like I've kept almost as a secret. Like, I don't dare tell people how much I struggle. And it's like, when you are a super creative multi-potentialite, like for me it's, I don't know, sometimes I also think like, do I have ADHD? Like, can I just not like focus, you know, to kind of narrow it down and like pick one thing and stay on track, and I just kind of can't. But then I'm thinking, you know, is it that I just cannot stay on track because I constantly end up doing things that I don't really want to be doing, where I'm coming at it from a place of like, oh, this will make money, or like, this is more realistic, or this is more reasonable. Like, now I'm thinking, you know, what if I hadn't like, what if I had just taken all the money and spent those 6 months, like really sat down, like put everything into one basket and just focused and drawn every day, you know, and created this book and figured out how to print it. And the problem is really just that when I have another job, like, I am beyond drained. So as much as I am taking responsibility for myself, for the way that I am, for my situation, for the choices that I make, I just figured, you know what, like, let's just give it a shot. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, I literally have no shame. Like, if this doesn't go well, I'll sleep fine tomorrow. Like, it does not matter. I will deal with it. But at the same time, I feel like it's between me, like, I am the person that stands between this happening and not happening. And I'm like, why, if there is a way for me to do it in an easier way, you know, where I can work for all of us to have this book, why not just do that? Why not just be employed by you, by all of you, right? Creating this book, and then I can have a product that I can sell, and I can just be of so much more service this way than going to work for someone else where I don't believe in the things that they're doing, you know? Or, I mean, point being, I just really want to create this book, and I would just love it and appreciate it so much if, you know, we could all kind of pull our resources together and make it happen. That's what I would love. That's what I would love for my birthday, and that's the whole reason why we're making this video, is because it's my birthday. And I was thinking, you know what, if you make a wish on your birthday, like, that's the only wish that I would make. The only thing that I want in this world at this point in time is just more time and focus to be able to create this book. Like, that's all I want. And I'm just putting it out there into the universe this way. Thank you for being here with me again. Thank you for witnessing. Sometimes I don't even know why the hell I do this. Like, I mean, I love doing it. I don't know how interesting this is to watch for someone else, but I know that it is just incredibly deeply cathartic for me to do, to come here and to do my confessions, you know? It really feels like confessions. And I've noticed over the last couple of years that every single time when you confess the truth about something in your life that you are hiding because reality doesn't match up to what you wish was there, it just creates so much more freedom, you know? Like, so many of us are just trying really hard and like kind of racing against time and you know, trying to be successful or whatever that means. And I feel like the more we can kind of be transparent about it and, you know, show the messiness of the process of getting to where we want to get to, I think it's just incredibly healing, you know, and it kind of really dissolves the ego, right? It's the ego that wants to kind of be able to do it all on our own and like not need any help, you know, and like not be a burden on anyone else, you know. Yeah, it's tricky, right? It's tricky. It's like, what if, for example, it meant that being a burden on someone else is actually ultimately, with everything calculated, a better way of going about it, you know, like you ultimately end up serving more people and creating more value and, you know, creating a better contribution that way. Because it's not like, I'm not asking for money so I would like sit here, you know, and watch Netflix and eat chips all day long. Like, I'm asking for money to do something, to create a beautiful piece of art, you know, that many people can enjoy. And that can bring, you know, hope and comfort, you know, and healing. Like, I really believe that the story is deeply healing, as it was to me, but also because it arrived in the form of something so universal and something that everyone can see themselves in. So I really believe that it's meant to be shared. I believe that it's meant to be created, and I'm just doing my part with putting it out there, you know, asking for support, and if it happens, beautiful. If not, I will still make it happen. It just might take longer. So thank you for watching. Again, thank you for being here. I honor you, and I will see you again next week. All right, bye.